Give or take 1990 or 91, Bennett and Pete Farrelly came into my office holding a script in their hand called Dumb and Dumber. And they said, this is the funniest movie, we really love it, we really have a lot of confidence that it's going to be really great, and would you read it? And I took it home that night and I read it, and I remember I laughed out loud a lot.
I like it a lot.
Uh-oh. And of course I called them up and said, look, I really, really would like to be involved in this.
It's okay! I'm a limo driver!
As a producer. And they said, great, let's try to do that together. And that set our sort of new relationship. And it just got turned down and turned down and turned down by every studio and every executive.
I didn't even see it coming.
And we didn't get like, no, thank you very much for submitting your script. It was a very interesting screenplay. I get calls from executives saying, what a piece of crap.
You are one pathetic loser.
Why would you send me this shit?
No offense. No, none taken.
It's funny, like 2 years go by and we're all broke.
I'm gonna go to the store. Yeah. Okay, just get the bare essentials. This will last of our dough.
In the meantime, while we're failing miserably, I had breakfast with Brad Cravoy about a completely separate issue. And I asked him what he was doing. He was financing low-budget movies.
So he handed me a screenplay, and it wasn't called Dumb and Dumber, and I think it was called like Power Tools or Not a Toy or something like that.
And the reason we would change the name was because usually the studios send it to readers. And they're young kids who are just out of college, and for a living, for $60, they read a script.
Host, annual, host,
Annual.
annual.
And the executive, who doesn't have time to read the script, reads that coverage.
I'll never, ever forget reading the screenplay because it was the very first time I read something that made me want to piss in my pants. I was laughing so hard.
So Brad brought the script back to the office. We all kind of looked at it, and I remember to this day that it was the funniest script that I ever read and the script that I laughed the most out loud as I was reading.
So that night, midnight, I called up Charlie. I said, we got to meet first thing tomorrow morning. Come in. We're doing this movie. Charlie came in, and that's when I met Peter and Bobby Farrelly for the first time.
It's our big chance, man.
But during the meeting, Peter and Bobby Farrelly started acting out the parts of Harry and Lloyd. And it was really funny.
We guaranteed that we would make the movie for $2 million or less, and we started to cast the movie. We went to Steve Martin, he said no. We went to Martin Short, he said no.
The film finally started to come together when we started to talk to New Line Cinema.
How about a hug?
And they had a really interesting attitude over there. Mike DeLuca kind of liked the script. Bob Shaye did not like the script, but I guess they liked it enough that if they could get the right cast, they said they would make it. And we came up with a list of about 25 actors. And they said, if you can get 2 of these actors from this list of 25, we'll greenlight Dumb and Dumber. And what we discovered was, of the 25 odd actors on that list, not one said yes.
God help me!
The New Line came back and said, look, we just finished shooting a movie called The Mask, and we love Jim Carrey. Ace Ventura had not come out yet, so he was pretty much unknown at that point. But if you get Jim Carrey in this movie, we'll make it.
We were told that we could close a deal with Jim Carrey for $1 million anytime up until the Friday that Ace Ventura opened. And in our brilliance, we didn't close that deal because he was only a TV star.
Monday morning, we called up Jim Carrey's agent, and we said, okay, let's get our contract on.
Hold on, sugar. Daddy's got a sweet tooth tonight.
And they said, well, we have a little problem since Friday.
Now you have to ask yourself one question.
I said, okay,
Do I feel lucky?
what's it gonna take?
New Line said, finally, get Jim Carrey. We got Jim Carrey, and then Pete said, okay, I want Jeff Daniels for the other part.
There was just something about it. I remember reading the script with this friend of mine, and I was gonna go read for it, and I said, is this funny? And I told him about the tongue on the pole scene.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I do this all the
And he
time.
goes, yeah, that's funny. Snowball in the head. He goes, yeah, that's funny. Sitting on a toilet. Yeah, that's funny.
And they said, no, Jeff Daniels isn't funny. I mean, he's a good actor, but he's not funny.
So I had 3 agents on the phone. 2 out of 3 guys were going, this will ruin your career. This is the end of everything. We cannot recommend more strongly that you do not do this movie. And the guy in New York, Paul Martino, I've been with since for 27 years, and Paul was the only one who said, do the movie. It's funny.
Shake it off, man. I'm gonna go back.
One of the things they said was that Jim is going to walk all over you. I'm going, okay, well, but what about the toilet scene? What about the tongue on the pole scene? What about the snowball in the head? He's not in those scenes. So even if he is that kind of guy, which I can react to, give me a little credit, there's the 3 scenes he's not even in. And then what Jim said was great. Jim said, this is a buddy-buddy movie, and I really want an actor across from me, somebody that I can react to and that will give and take. He really didn't want another comedian who would just wait for Jim to finish and then try to top him. And we were reading the hot tub scene. My hair was long, so I just kind of did this with the hair and, just kind of, did that. And Jim got this smile on his face.
This is the life.
Pete and Bobby Farrelly said, we knew before you guys even said a word. Jim and I worked a little bit together, and I was, I was having trouble getting a handle on it.
How far have we gone?
Jim kind of knew it and understood it. And
According to this map, about 1.5 inches. And how much farther we gotta go?
eventually I just,
2 feet.
I just said, okay, what would it be like to have an IQ of 9?
And we are gonna need a smaller map, or we're never gonna get there.
And, and so just I play the reality of that, which is all actor crap, but, instead of trying to be dumb, why don't you just be that stupid? So literally it was, I would shake my head, and like slosh my brain around before takes, just to try to empty out any degree of intelligence that I may have had as a person. And so that you really were, just kind of, being let out by your nose, and that seemed to work. You don't comment on it, you aren't trying to be funny, you just are that stupid.
I was the Kung Fu chef.
Pretty bird.
Pretty bird. Polly, want a cracker?
All right, fly.
The whole dead bird experience with me as a child, it's given me a little bit of trauma. I've never really had any run-ins with the cops or anything like that.
Because I'd been such a huge supporter of the script, Bobby and Peter cast me as J.P. Shea, which was a man, because that was the only role available.
I was Joe Mental, the gas man.
Gas man? How the hell do they know that I got gas?
Excuse me, gunman? Who are you?
My job was to be a real bad guy.
Oh, don't play dumb with me, asshole. I'm the rightful owner of that briefcase that you've been carrying around.
I did it.
For the character Seabass, I went back to my roots in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and thought about all the farmers and the truck drivers and the truckers and...
I'll show you a happy place.
And, of course, with the right wardrobe, it was somewhat easy to get into that character.
I played a self-absorbed, concerned, lonely ex-girlfriend.
I don't care.
I'm gonna tell you, he came...
/ undercover cop.
In the end, it was down to me and Jeff. I remember sitting in the lobby with them.
Sir, no, wait.
No, sir, don't drink. You'd keep your mouth shut if you knew it was good for you, buddy.
I'm sure if they went with me, it would have been all over the place. As a little side thing, they asked me if I wanted to play the cop, and I was like, sure, man. Bring it on. Bring it on, real nice life.
Okay, it's a funny script, but then we're stuck with the Pete Farrelly, Bob Farrelly.
Get the hell out of here.
But we were stuck with that. It was either Pete and Bob directing or it wasn't gonna happen.
The Farrellys are they're just so much fun. They're just so passionate and enthusiastic about what we get to do today.
You have to imagine a couple of guys from Rhode Island doing a Hollywood movie, the big budget movie, just calling the shots and conspiring to like blow people's minds all day long.
Pete and Bob wanted to try certain things, and again, people really objected to the whole idea of doing a lot of the stuff we wanted to do.
Well, I think their comedy style is a lot of the things that guys will hang out when they're hanging out in a bar or at a sports game will talk about and do.
To go look at the fun bags on that hose hound.
But the idea was to just go ahead and shoot it.
It's just they always, how far can we go? Where's the line? Let's cross it. The Farrelly brothers are like that. They're this constant kind of searching for would it be funnier if we came in having a sword fight and then hat, boom, boom, pow, you know, all that stuff. It just kept adding and adding and adding.
It did milk a scene as much as they could, and then when they felt they'd got everything that they could imagine and put their heads together. Anybody else?
We try to shoot the first 2 takes of any given setup script. And then we'll say, oh, guys, go crazy, do whatever you want. We got it, and we know we got it in the can. Why don't you guys go ahead and do whatever the hell you want?
Look, man. Oh, that's real attractive. What? I'm Dionne Warwick on the Psychic Friends Network.
They were open to any good ideas. If they were entertained by it, they'd be willing to film it.
I believe in this. It has helped me.
Who's Dionne Warwick?
Some chick.
The Pretty Bird was written in the script, but I took the liberty to improvise, and Polly wanted...
Cracker? He's good birdie.
It was all me.
They initially just asked me to do the lines as they were in the script.
Are you boys aware that it's against the law to drive around with an open container of alcohol in the state of Pennsylvania?
Peter said, okay, try a couple your way.
You lads aware that it's against the law to be driving around here in Pennsylvania with an open container of alcohol, you little basset hound driving, crinkled up donut wrapper, licking, little road trip enjoying, fix your hair, sucking, what's wrong with your tooth, gurgling monkey kids?
I still don't know what it means.
Oh, is that so, lasagna lips?
Almost to a fault where people, the producers, I'm sure, they just film anything.
All I want is some vegetarian. Is it kosher?
Won't they just get the day done and help us stay on schedule?
There's a scene where we're at the bar, and the POV is now Jim walking out of the bar, the lodge. And as he walked out, he stopped, and he looked at this framed newspaper article. It was a prop up on the wall, and he ad-libbed,
No way.
That's great.
It required great restraint, again, for everyone not to crack up laughing. It was just a genius moment. It was pure Jim Carrey.
It's not just improv, about changing a line or changing a direction. It's how a guy like Jim Carrey can take the exact line written on the script and make it different than the way it was intended to be, just by his delivery, or just by his eye movement, or just by turning his head a little bit. It just becomes different. And that's a lot.
Jim Carrey is such a talented comedian and understands humor so perfectly that he gave up the best part in the screenplay so that Jeff Daniels could play it.
Cool.
And that's the true spirit of a brilliant comedian.
Whatever!
All the stuff that Jeff does is really funny. In fact, if you look at the movie, the fact is, I think he gets half the laughs, and Jim gets half the laughs. But it comes from a different place. They're different kind of guys. Jim is very sort of out there on the set, making jokes and entertaining people and being funny. And quite honestly, Jeff, when the director yells, cut, let's move on, he goes back to his trailer to write plays. He's a very sort of inward-based kind of guy, and he writes music and he writes plays, and everything worked out pretty good. When they finally got on the set, it was sort of perfect because they got along great.
Thank you, my good man.
There was no competition for who was going to be funnier or who was going to get the goofy line.
I don't think there's many people in Jim Carrey films that have been able to stand next to him and stay in every scene throughout the entire movie and hold their own. And Jeff Daniels certainly did that.
When you're working with Jim, you've got so much to bounce off of and react to. And he's such a gifted comedian. He's so smart. He's so precise.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Somebody to react to that and bounce off of that. It was easy. He made it easy. It was all about whatever happens, keep going, because it could be great.
The magic on the set between Jeff and Jim was a chemistry. It was not an intellectual issue. They just got together and did it.
They fit together so well, and I think that's why the film was so successful ultimately, was the chemistry between Jim and Jeff.
There's an old saying, a movie's never as good as its dailies or as bad as its first cut. But you get a feeling, and the feeling on the set as we were making Dumb and Dumber is that we were making something that was going to be really good and that we were going to be really proud of.
I can tell you the truth, I never, during the making of the movie, even during the editing process, ever thought, wow, this is going to be a big hit.
Dumb and Dumber's a classic movie, groundbreaking film. And when I say groundbreaking, most people watch it once, go to Home Depot, grab a shovel, dig a hole in their backyard and bury the goddamn thing.
Well, Dumb and Dumber is an anomaly. I mean, no one quite understands how such juvenile humor attracts the CEO of a corporation. And they're not ashamed to tell you that they love Dumb and Dumber.
They'll ask me if I'm really blind. They'll ask me if the bird was real. And I just have to kind of look at them and wonder, what is wrong with you?
I'd be playing, I'd be actually on the ice, and I'd hear from the other team's bench people yelling Seabass or kick his ass, Seabass.
Oh, you're that Kung Fu chef. Wow, you know, all those movements and all those words, yeah.
Clint Eastwood came up to me and said that happened to him. That toilet scene, he was dating some girl, he really wanted to impress her, he'd eaten the wrong thing at lunch, he got to her house to pick her up for dinner or to go out or whatever, and he needed to find the bathroom now. And to have somebody like Clint's stature, tell you that story, and I guess it's nice to know the movie connected with him as well.
I think this film continues to reach new audiences because I think it's you know, rarely tire of stupidity, and this is a celebration of knuckleheads.
A lot of the humor seems to span across the world, and people just love it.
It's so simple, yet so complex in its humor, and that's the beauty of it. It works on so many different levels, that movie.
Did we know we were doing a classic? Probably not. Jeff Daniels probably knew. I'll bet you he knew.
I knew we were on to something at least unique. I had no idea that it would be received and enjoyed by so many people so many years down the road. And that's a great thing, you know. The last time I looked, the Greeks were holding up 2 masks. And comedy should be on an equal level with drama. It really should. And whether you're sitting on a toilet or, you know, doing Shakespeare, funny is funny.